Welcome,
Yeah.
Jaycen and Brett. Very excited to be here talking to you. Glad you could make it. Make some time in your calendars for me to talk today. Very excited for you starting your Wise Elite journey. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you today. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we have this series called the WizeFactor Chat. Talk to these firm owners that we think have the it factor, the Wize factor, because we consider you guys have been in the Wise journey for a long while, even if the Wise Elite is just starting. And after talking to the mentors, they consider you guys have been great at what you've done, that you've stuck yourself to your goals and haven't stopped and just keep progressing, which is awesome. So yeah, I wanted to hear some backstory from you guys. When did the business start? Whose idea was it to become Element Accounting and Advisors?
All right. Well, I guess with Jaycen and myself, so the way it started was back in 2014, and there was an original business partner that was there. So very sort of old school, filing cabinets, paper, files, the whole sort of thing. So I'd been there for about a year. I used to work with Jaycen at another firm. We're both supervisors, managers, I guess you'd say there, Jace. And so I gave him a call and said, if you're interested, I'd love to have you to come in here and, for him or Jaycen and I to take over the firm, sort of the plan in my mind. So, Jace, you came across, what, about a year later?
Yeah, about a year, bit under a year, I think it was. And the plan
Yeah.
was that it was going to be a long transition to ownership for myself from the
Yep.
existing owner, probably sometime around about now was the original plan. But once we got in there and started making changes, that quickly progressed that he decided that he didn't want to be involved anymore, that he wasn't probably up to speed with the technology and things that he needed to be, and decided to move that forward about 8 years. Yes, and for the last 8 years, we've been in partnership together, which has
Yep.
been running very smoothly.
That's all.
Yeah.
And I can
Mm.
sense a chemistry that you had from your previous work, which is amazing. That you found that you had this synergy and that you decided to create something for you. Awesome.
It definitely works when you've got two members in it, Jace, who are on the sort of same page, very similar with our beliefs
Like-minded.
and
Yeah,
everything there.
yeah,
That's
for sure.
awesome. So
Yeah.
fast forward a little, you were having challenges in your firm, I guess, or were wanting to improve things. What were those challenges that made you at that point look at any type of advisory, coaching, or mentoring, like in this case?
Yeah.
What was happening at that time?
Yeah, well, probably the first 4 or 5 years was taking the firm from what it was and bringing it into the
Yep.
21st century. So that we were very busy during that period, getting everyone under
Mm.
zero, getting the staff up to date with what they should have already known, to be honest, and putting those
Yep.
systems in place. And Brett was huge in that, in instigating that throughout the process. Then about 3 or 4 years ago, we decided, well, we've got that humming pretty well now, and we're ready to
Mm.
take that next step and grow. And we just didn't really know how to do that because we've always been stuck as the doers, and
Mm.
coming in from the business model that we came from in our previous employer, we kind of replicated that and thought that was the way to go, which was a very flat structure, the exact opposite to what the
The
Wize model is.
shallow and the deep and narrow, yeah.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah.
made
Yep.
mistakes along the way with staff as well, where we tried to put them in the wrong seats because of that model. If we knew now, or back then, what we
Back
know
then.
now, there would
Mm.
be some staff that would still be here, and the whole firm would be benefiting from that. But we learn as we go. So, and that's
Love
been one
that.
of the really pleasing things is that we have been able to learn from the Wise team and 100% buy into what that is as well.
Yep.
Awesome. And how many staff did you have at that point, and versus how many do you have working for you today?
It's a hard one to answer because we've actually gone less staff simply on the things that
You-
Jaycen and I implemented.
That's usually what happens when you implement the deep and narrow structure.
Yeah.
Oh, this was prior to then. So this was
Oh,
basically staff who would take 10 hours to do a work paper. When we implemented systems, they are now taking 3. So, and it's sort of evolved to find staff who were struggling with those concepts and things. So we actually, staff left as a result of that, but the staff that remained and were trained and could do those work papers could handle the workload quite easily at that point in time. So that was all pre-Wize, and that's sort of where Jace sort of said we got to that point, and that's when we reached out to you guys. So at that point, it really hasn't changed that much, has it, Jace? It's actually probably grown a little bit back now. There's more work.
Yeah, that's right. So, and we just had people in the wrong seats as well.
Yep.
It's probably the big thing, because we were that flat structure and trying to get everyone to do everything, which just wasn't the way to grow.
Work.
Actually, because it all fell back on us and that kind of thing. So, and we also had only Australian staff at that stage.
Oh,
so in the last
you started
10 months
at some point.
Yeah, only in the last year. Yeah.
Oh, got it. So you're in that wave still, like transition to that type of business.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
team structure sounds like it was a huge thing for you guys. And was there any other thing that had an impact in how you do things at your business ever since Wize Elite, or ever since Wize in general?
Big one's COVID. So
yeah.
COVID changed everything. So we
did,
used to have everyone came in and saw us face to face, basically. But now we've got cameras, as you can see, and it's no longer the way that. And we've evolved as a result of that. And before even offshoring, had staff members working from home and things like that, that we just didn't think was possible before COVID, essentially.
Great. And I guess that once you joined Wize, since everything in Wize is offshoring and we're very used to the remote model, even being in the same country, there are remote people. You felt like you had the systems at that time, that they provided the systems in order to make this transition smoother?
Yeah, definitely. I think it also prompted us to, because we were, as Jay said, looking for direction. So we had ideas and systems that we thought were right, but we didn't really know whether they were. So to then see what you guys had and sort of validated everything and gave us much better ideas and a pathway, I guess, to systemize everything and how to do it step by step, as opposed to just this huge, big task to try and get the firm how you want it. So that's a lot of what we got out of Wize, which has been great. We've loved it.
Yeah, for sure. And really focus on certain areas as well. Because have in the past had these great ideas where we sit down for a day and come up with 30 different things we're going to do, but you can't do 30 things at once. So, but we always tried to do that rather than just making it 1% better.
That's the progress over perfection.
Well, a big one too that I'd say in there would be, which is the old Eddie Chan, the butterfly garden and all that sort of stuff. But for us with staffing, we were always trying to get superheroes to take the load off Jaycen and I, and then we could do all these other things, where that whole idea of having great structures and systems in place and having normal people who are, have got the right attitude and committed to work, they didn't need to be superstars, is huge for us. And that's where we're heading in this path. Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest change we've had. You hit the nail on the head there, Brett.
Exactly.
Is the mindset from us of who we're actually after.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a huge lesson from Ed. And I think he makes a lot of emphasis on that when hiring. I think he's a recruitment master. And one of the things that he says, like the quote that he used to say is, build extraordinary systems so you don't have to look for extraordinary people, which I relate to a lot. So you can have anyone who's trustworthy, reliable, someone who does the job great, but if you have systems, you'll know you'll get it done. So I have a question on this. So you know that we talk about building a business that runs without you. I wanted to see if that phrase resonates with you. Are you eager to get to that point? How do you feel about progressing up to that point? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, this is probably a discussion we have all the time.
Exactly.
We like the idea of it, but we also enjoy our job. So we're happy to, as long as we can do 35, 40 hours a week of useful work, then we'll be happy. So we don't want to step completely back from the business or anything like that. We'll take over the world. We just want to, continue to build the business, but not have to do 60, 70 hours a week to do that.
And that's perfect.
So that's a huge goal for us.
That's perfect. Even that is a huge goal.
Yeah, which for us is it doesn't necessarily like we're still using the Wize model. So if we had a whole heap of these deep and narrow teams, Jaycen and I could then cherry pick our clients under our teams that we want and do what we love doing. So that for us is a win. I mean, if I win the lottery, I'll be later tomorrow. But outside of that, I love what we do and I enjoy working with Jace and building together what we are. Yeah.
That's awesome. Love to hear that it went through all of these things, all of these years, and it's still smooth. So I want to hear from you guys. This is my last question, and it's about past Jaycen and past Brett. What would you tell them as someone who hasn't discovered any of this, who's doing the old model, who's hesitating, who's working too many hours? Because there's a lot of people who's going to look at this and say, I want to be in that spot because I'm nowhere nearby that. And I know this for sure because I've talked to many, many firm owners. So what would you say to
Yeah.
these people, but looking at yourselves about this, about Wize Lead and about choosing this path?
Yeah, I'd probably say it doesn't say on your tombstone how many hours you worked.
Yeah.
It's probably the main thing I've got. So I want to get back to that, spending more time with the family and all those kind of things that create a happier life. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just work, 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 and then die.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
a bleak answer, but
Oh,
Well,
I wasn't expecting that.
well, mine would probably, yeah. Yeah, mine might be a little bit cheerier, I guess. What I'd say is, look, what they give you is confidence and a path. So, 5 years ago, he's gone through COVID and I'm going to this point. Jaycen and I needed somebody to set us in the right path. And for the first time, we feel like we are. And Wize is a big, big part of that for us personally. So, yeah, I'd highly recommend. I'd gladly go back to Brett 5 years ago and say, get on this path because you enjoy what you're doing. But with everything and the workload and that, you start to not enjoy what it is. So this gives you a clear path and be aware that it's not going to take 6 months. Jaycen and I have this joke where he said for the last 8 years together, 12 to 24 months, and we're going to be where we want to be. 8 years later, we still weren't. But we feel for the first time now with offshoring, with getting the right attitude, looking at the steps, having that library there that we can work our way through as well. It's priceless.
Yeah.
Love to
And
hear.
probably the other thing is to buy in quicker. Because we did, for that first couple of years of being on board, we didn't really buy in. Like it was there, it was in the background, but we weren't actively buying in, probably because we weren't seeing the results yet.
Yeah.
And we were very busy at the time. We weren't, putting in that hour into the business. We would go 4 hours on one day and then 8 months later, oh yeah, remember these ideas we had.
Yeah.
So you've got to, like Jamie has, you've got to commit to it.
Yeah, the accountability in the group coaching, also you see other members and other firm owners progressing, and then it kind of gives you the momentum you probably need to complete your own tasks and say, hey, I want to be there. And there will be other people looking at you and thinking, I want to be where they are. So I think that's also the exciting part about sharing all this process with other firm owners, like peers, and then with mentors who have walked this walk. So it's amazing that you're getting to experience that. And I really look forward to circling back in a couple of months when you've been deeper into your Wize Lead journey. You'll probably see this video somewhere, or I can email you and ask, like, where are you guys? What has changed since we last spoke? Just to check in on you, because I love seeing the progress firm owners go over from when we talk and into the future. So really excited to see what you guys be working on in 3 months.
Well, Brett's going to win the lot.
Well, I haven't bought a lotto ticket in probably a year, so you got to be in it to win it. But no, so are we. We're really excited about the next 10 years, 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Very excited. You guys for making the time, answering my questions, talking to me today. Really happy we got the moment and the space to talk about you and your firm. And yeah, I wish you a great day. Talk to you soon.
That's it.
All right,
All right. Thanks, Claudia.
Cheers.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.